Hello, ladies and gents. Reed here. How's it going? Today, we're going to have a very interesting discussion about young Mike, Menino Mike, um, when he was a child. And this series is on narcissism as a network. And I'm trying my best to help you understand that when you're in front of that sick narc, you're looking at a mirror, but there's someone else who's spying on you. And that is the sick narc that unalived the narc you're standing in front of. You're in front of a clone, a puppet, a clown. They only reflects, their wishes only reflects the demands of the narcissist that unalived them. And they must return and reunite with that narcissist. Why? Handlers. What's a handler? Two parts of your ego. There's two parts, an external part and an internal part of your ego, right? The external part are all the people around your culture, and you start to integrate all those things into who you are. You develop your internal sense of self, right? And this is the ego here. If they pound this out, if they pound your internal sense of self out, then you only have them. They become your ego. More specifically, they become your superego. And your superego is the part of you that tells you what to do. They all have to, all these sick narcs in the networks they function in, have to do one thing successfully. They destroy your internalized sense of self. Why? Because their main goal is to become your handler. You're in a relationship with a sick narc. You are being handled. You're not in a relationship. A relationship, there's an energy that goes back and forth, a give and take, a flow like that. With the narc, it's a one-way energy flow from you to them. Why? Because they're energy deficient. And how do I know? When you are high up there, when you feel love in your heart, they hate that. When you feel appreciation, they hate that. And they're down here with the unalived. So anytime you get together with them, you have to come down your mountain and go down to their density level. And when you're that sickness, everything is about them. Why? Because it's survival of the fittest. Nobody's sharing survival of the fittest. You get in there, you eat yourself, and you eat as much as you can until your belly full. You don't look after the next man. And that's where you at. When you're in front of a narc, a psychopath, a sociopath, or anyone with them, you leave your reality and you enter theirs. You enter theirs. And they play by, and all the rules point to them. Why? Because it's survival of the fittest. If you are not prepared to be ruthless, they don't respect you. Why? Because you're not obeying the rules. Down there at the bottom where the narc lives is survival of the fittest. And you descend down your mountain, you want to talk that talk, and you want to strategize, and you want to outthink the narc. You want to out-strategize the narc. You want to hit one up on the narc. Oh, how's that possible? You went down there to visit him. And you in his house. You all away from home. You're in a different dimension. You're in a different reality. In your reality, these things don't go on. In your reality, these things don't happen. They only happen when you go down there and deal with the narc. That's why no contact is the only thing that works. Why? Stay up there. Don't go down there. That's why no contact with everybody that's associated with that sick narc or their network, right? You stay up there. Yeah. So narcissism is a network, right? And a narc is never alone. They at least have their handler. And so when you're in a relationship with these people, they change their mind every time the handler changes their mind. That's what the discard is for, right? Discard you anytime they want, just to reunite with the higher narc. And you know what? That's the way it's programmed. It is neither good nor bad. That's just the way it is, right? Those are the rules in survival of the fittest. And how you gonna change them, right? Nobody's gonna agree to change. It's that bottom that creates all the variety that we see at the top. Yep, they're part of the puzzle. They're intricate and important, vital part of this whole operation. They're the bottom. You got to have the bottom, right? Right. Your problem is you deal with the bottom too much. You need to get away from the bottom. Okay. So this is about Michael Jackson, young Mike, the perfect mirror, right? So let me help you understand this. When you're dealing with these narcs, psychopaths, and sociopaths, it's very important. Something very important for you to know. It's very important for you to know that when they come after you, they come after your children. Yep. They come after your children. All of them. And here's what happened. They lower your child's self-esteem when you're not around. They purposely introduce false information into this young forming mind's heads about you. They alienate you with your own child. And all of them do it together behind your back. I mean, all of them in the network do it together behind your back. And you know what? That's like their badge of honor. To take something that you love so much and destroy it. They change your children's opinion against you. And they do it intentionally. Your mother's this, your father's that, right? And what they want to do is awful. They want to create so much psychological, emotional torment within his child that the child descends down from where you are down to where they want them to be. And they continue to introduce the chaos, the slandering, the gossip, the reframing, the splitting, the triangulation to your child, and things like that until they have absolutely no idea what's going on. Completely fry their prefrontal cortex. I did a presentation on the prefrontal cortex and I was not demonstrating, but explaining that it receives all information. It doesn't check whether or not the information is valid or not. So one of the ways that these narcissists program your children is by children are open vessels. They instill the worst things in your children behind your back. And that leads to the disruptions that eventually happens in teenage years. And this form of parental alienation and torture that requires this form of parental alienation that when these narcissistic parents convert their loving children into mirrors is a form of unaliving them. And how they do it, destroy their own internalized sense of self. Then alienate them. So there's no other opinions besides the people in this organization. If you ever had a problem with parental alienation or these narcs coming around your children, then take note of the actual people the other parents have the child around. They're all in it together. Otherwise, the child won't be with them. They have to have all the opinions the same so you can create a false world for that child. And the child believes everything they say about you. And they do it in the developmental stage. And they do it to break the attachment between you and that child. And they force the child to reject the parent. And they do it stern and all that, disapproving and things like that. So you're there with your child loving and doving and things like that, and you're getting along, right? And when it goes to the other, the narc parent, right? Stern, bullying right there in privacy with the child. But they will hurt the child. They will harm the child. And it's very clear there's a power differential between the narcissistic parent and the child. The child has no power in this situation. So this is done through threats, intimidation, and coercion. And this is done by the most malignant of the sickest of them narcs. And all of them have the sick delusion of themselves. And they see themselves as heroic, altruistic, entitled. So they don't see anything wrong with torturing a child and forcing a child to reject the parent that actually loves them. This happens in our society on a regular basis in 2025. And our healthcare system does nothing about this. Nothing. And we don't have a way to protect those children who are unalived in the process. And when I say unalive, when they force them to descend down to your loving level, down to the bottom, they lock them in the bottom and prevent any opportunity for that child to continue to grow emotionally by alienating the child from everyone else, by praising disruptive, awful, antagonistic behavior and shunning good behavior and no warning good behavior. So they flip the whole reward system so that your child gets benefits from acting out, particularly against you. The child can relieve the emotional and psychological torment by being a very good reflection of that narcissist anger directly towards you. So the child is a mirror. The narc is there. You're here. You see your partner, but this person is a mirror. So the anger goes from the narcissist to you, and then they simply act it out towards you. Word for word, phrase for phrase, stage for stage. Complete mirrors. The child is lost of any autonomy, no opinions. The only thing that's correct is what the narcissist says and does. And no matter what they do, these children are incapable of even understanding the concept of holding them accountable. Yep. These are the sickest of the sickest, I tell you. Awful. Now, if you're experiencing one of these, they're going to all be on the same page. They're already lying about you. If you go to a therapist, the therapist is in on it. I don't know how many therapists, let me say about that. I don't know how many people across all different industries, across all different professions, still behave like this. So these narcissists are in all areas, even in medicine, even in healthcare, medicine, even in behavioral health. I mean, even in psychiatrists, you have these sickos here, and they're doing the same thing. So this discussion here is on narcissism as a network. And you see the NBFC is narcissistic black family cults. Didn't know they had those, did you? And I would specialize with the ones on the south side of Chicago because these are particularly different and dangerous. Right? So remember, when you are in front of that narc, this is the entryway to a narcissist. If you're on the south side, if you're in front of that narc, this is an entryway to a narcissistic black family cult. And what it is, a group of narcissists, right? All working together. And they may not be in the same location at the same time. But their goal is to create the circumstances so the narc in front of you can feed as much as you want, right? Because that narc in front of you is going to continue to abuse you and feed, abuse and feed. And that's the direction, that's the reflection from the master narc, right? And so all the other people around you are going to block people from helping you, reframe you when people are targeting you, minimize you. When you need help, they all come, but they actually don't participate in helping. right? You, it's weird. Go back, if you go back to this narc and look at his or her family or something like that. And when you needed help, they came, but they actually didn't do anything to help. They actually used up the resources around you so you can use them to help yourself. Oh, you ever did a narcissistic family code? Family, you meet the family, they're all just looking at you, right? And no one actually engages with you with a sense of self. They all sit around and basically none of these beasts want to interfere with the feeding, and the feast is upon you, right? Feast is upon you. So here, awful, young Mike, unalive by Joe, and everybody else watched. And then his mother, different type of narc. She's the one that enabled everything. She's the one, oh, the sweet one, right? Oh. But I'm not sure how you could ever allow anyone to do what Michael Jackson described Joe Jackson did to him. And torture. I was looking for the video where Michael Jackson was describing how Joe Jackson would oil him down. And Joe Jackson would take a extension cord or whip and beat him everywhere, on his face, on his head, on his neck, on his back. I mean, absolutely everywhere. And Mike described how this went on so often, right? And later you hear Mike saying, hey, I only feel alive when I'm performing, right? Yeah, because Joe destroyed his internal sense of self. So he only has his external component, which is his external ego, which is the crowd. And so he has to desperately practice, rehearse, invent things, be innovative and everything in order to create the next stellar performance to get the reaction from the crowd. Right, because fundamentally, he was tortured as a young child. And part of his injuries was to try to balance his pain and suffering by performing for you. This is sick. This is awful. I cannot listen to his songs anymore. Just awful. I'm going to see if I can pull up one song, and I want to do this for like educational purposes. I don't want to get a strike. I don't want to get a strike, right? So I'll do it for like just show a small clip it, and I want to snip it. I want to show you what I'm talking about, right? Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to show you this one video when Michael Jackson as a child is singing this song called Who's Loving You. Now, this is a song about an intimate relationship between adults, right? And the song is about loss. So this child is singing about loss. I mean, for all this time, I felt that Michael was a phenomenon because he was able to capture the experience of adults and then just replicate them, mimic them as if they were real, because he surely could not have experienced that, right? Surely a child could not experience that degree of despair and that degree of loss. What? At like 8? With a family of 10 siblings and 2 parents? Surely. I mean, your pain at 8 is that degree where you can accurately express those sentiments to adults and everybody throughout time believe you? Nobody said that kid faking. Nobody said he faking. They listen, oh my God, how is that? How old is he? What? And you thinking this is talent. However, when you think that he was tortured and he at such a young age, and he was forced to feel those very excessive and extreme emotions through beatings, torture, psychological abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse, forced to work, to perform in order to stabilize your mood, to prevent you becoming depressed or anxious or sad or even psychotic. He would have to perform to get his dose. And this became so compulsive where he was willing to disfigure himself, turn himself into a white woman. Why? To get the approval of the people around him. I cannot listen to his music anymore because this wasn't talent. This was a soul, a young child who was desperately trying to maintain his psychological, emotional balance by performing. Why? Because the greater narcissist channeled his experience with his sick wife through his child. Mike's talking about the relationship between his sick narcissistic parents. So I'm not going to play much of this, but I look at this lovely little child right here and look how old he is. So this is not talent. This is trauma. He's desperately needing your attention. Why? Because he can't survive without it. Oh, and wrong, my dear. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. But in these narcissistic families or these narcissistic networks, all of the adults remain silent while the children are being tortured. They protect the whole system. They act as if everything is okay. And there's no way for this child to seek help. Absolutely no way. It is disgusting that our healthcare system doesn't have anything to help these victims. And these are the most vulnerable of it all. And if you broaden this, you look at the South Side of Chicago and just how many young Black children go missing every year. This is awful. And our community allows this. Where are our leaders at? Where are all of our leaders at? Where are you at, guys? Sign up. I need to put a roll call for leaders. Sign up. There's no one here to protect these little children. No one. So if you are dealing with in a relationship with a narcissist, you're going to have to make sure that you get help for your children early on. The most important thing you can do is have multiple adults who sort of understand this sickness and can talk to your child to sort of, you have to get more people who are healthy around your child to balance the network of people, right? Because the child is going to go to the network that they're attached to. And these people go into court and they start doing the same things in court. and creating the same thing in court, and it makes the whole issue very complicated. So if you're dealing with this, make sure you get some help with this right away. And if you're a child, I think that it's okay to reach out to get some help. It's okay, because it's awful. I think that's I think that's all I want to say. I can't listen to Mike like that for long. I gotta go. Let me change this. And so I live in Chicago, and Gary, Indiana, it's not too far from here. I drove over there because I had to see his house and everything. Very small house. Let me show you guys. Let me show y'all. Okay, let's see. 2300 Jackson Street, Gary, Indiana. Okay, let me pull this up. Where am I at? Okay, so these are pictures. Okay, so this is the alley here. I even drove down to the alley. Okay, here it is right here. There's like the back of the house. Here's like, okay, let me open this up here. Okay, so this is like the back of the house that Michael Jackson grew up in. And this scene is just awful, So this is the, house here. And according to autobiography, this was the room right here. So this whole place here is just for me, it's just, this is where he was tortured at as a young child, and this is awful to see the places where all these bad things and beatings happen to Michael Jackson, let me see. Yeah, so here's the here's the house right here. They said this was the living room. They said this is Joe's room and stuff like Joe's room and stuff like that. Anyway, this is nuts. Okay, I think that's all I have for now. It's a pleasure speaking to you about this, talking about some of these subjects, particularly when they involve children. It's very difficult for me because I know that these awful adult narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths are just prying on the weakest of us all, So please feel free to like, subscribe, and share. And watch out for those narcs, and please protect your children. Let me see if I have any questions here. Hey, hi, Hash. How's it going, buddy? Let me see here. Can the perfect mirror ever reclaim the authentic self? Yes. You have to escape the ego, basically. Hey, Moeen, how's it going? Let's see here. How's it going, Moeen? How does mirroring serve as a survival mechanism in narcissistic networks? If you're around any narcissist run like hell, don't try to mirror. Don't try to. There's a strategy called gray rocking. See, let me tell you this. Okay. Narcissists, psychopath, meaning narcissists, they look to see what you're attached to. And of course, if you're a parent, you're going to be attached to your child. And they're going to hit the thing that you're most attached to, because the number one goal is to cause trauma. So when they come around you, they're looking for the things that you're most attached to, and that's what their target. If they can target your child, oh, that's great. Why? Because they'll start targeting you through your child, right? And that's what they want to do. So even if they're not directly in the same room with you, in the same house with you, they can either be on the other side of the world, but still have control over your child's superego as a handler. So they can always precipitate conflicts between you and your child by remote. They're called handlers, right? I think that's all I have to say for now. Okay. It's been a pleasure, guys. Read out. Take care, guys. Ciao.